Welcome in everyone, Mr. Talbot here for you. Wanted to spend some time today going over checkpoint 4. So again, hopefully by this point you've gone through your first several checkpoints, you've got your timelines and a general understanding of the wars. You've gone through checkpoints 2 and 3 where you really kind of picked out the different elements of your propaganda or your art, whatever form that you picked. You kind of just want to take some time and go through some examples, what we're doing in checkpoint 4. So the first thing is we've got to get the organizer. Remember, everyone's kind of in a different spot with this project. So you're either spicy, medium, or mild. So same process as we've done before. Go ahead and go to the resources for you section of checkpoint 4. You're going to open up that. It should look something like this. Do that Control A to select all. Control C. You can also do the right finger click while we do this. You're going to copy it. Then you're going to head on over to the little left-right arrow thing, the actual submission doc of checkpoint 4. Once you're in there, it'll look like this, and just go ahead and paste the organizer in there. So once you're in there, really it's work. But before we work, I wanted to take some time, and I really wanted to go over kind of what cognitive skill are we trying to get mastery of through this project, and in particular with this specific checkpoint. So we're looking at a thing called contextualizing sources. So this is going beyond just making a works cited page. This is now we're really going to do something with those art pieces that you've selected. So you've hopefully done a great job selecting good art pieces that really give a perspective of the world wars, and if you're a spicy person, going into the Cold War as well. So what contextualize means is you not just identify the source, but you're also talking about what was going on when the source was created, what was the political climate, what was the economic climate, what were things like for the creator, and how did that affect what was made? So we all know we're kind of shaped by the things we experience. So how are we affected by the world around us when we make these? And most of the pieces you're selecting are things that were made during the different conflicts. So what was going on there very much so affects it. So I kind of want to, when you're this bottom half of the screen here, this is kind of what you're going to see on the actual organizer that you've copied and pasted. This up here is the final scoring guide you would see on the final product. And you're going to see there's kind of a lot of alignment here, and I kind of wanted you to be able to see it at the same time. When you see the soapy, happy, or hippie, this is an acronym we're going to use to help you contextualize. You don't need to do anything beyond soapy, happy, or hippie for this part of the project. And you're not doing all three. I don't care which of the three you pick. Just pick one of the three. So you're doing soapy, or you're doing happy, or you're doing hippie. Okay? Don't do all three. Don't mix and match. Pick one that makes the most sense to you and go with it. I personally prefer soapy, but I'm going to show you an example of all three of them. So when we contextualize, it's important to know who the speaker is, or who the artist is, or who the creator is. And this is going to include their point of view. So if you're doing soapy, that's the S. If you're doing happy or hippie, it's the first P, the point of view, the perspective. And that's going to be this part here of 3. So it includes information about the maker, their perspective, okay? And also their audience, okay? And that would be the A of soapy, and the A of happy, and the I of hippie, which just means intended audience. So again, happy and hippie are very, very similar. The next part is we're looking at information about the source's time and place of origin, which you'll see we need to do for this top part here. So that's going to be the O of soapy, the historic occasion. What's going on in the world when it's created? The answer for most of these is going to be, this is during World War I, or this is during World War II. But you can get even more specific based on what you're showing. This is during the early part of the war. This is during the middle part of the war. This is created by someone that actually had first-hand knowledge, or this is created by somebody that was working in the factories or trying to, whatever the case may be. That's the historic occasion or the historical context. So the H of hippie and of happy. You'll see we've already talked about audience, and we're going to talk a little bit more about point of view and perspective shortly. The purpose, why was this thing made? Is it made to try and convince people to buy war bonds so we can go out and buy more war goods? Is it made to encourage people to enlist? Is it made to tell people what the war was really like? Is it made to make people hate the enemy? What is the purpose? Okay. And the place where a lot of people get thrown off here is the why. I'm not asking why was it made, because that's what purpose is. I'm asking is, why does the rest of SOAP matter, or why does the historical context matter, or why does the intended audience matter? So why does what you wrote already, how does it affect what is in the document, what is in the painting, what is in the film, or what is in the poem? And we're going to look at some examples. So again, it's not why was it made, it's why it matters, this other context information that you are giving. So I want to take some time, kind of go through some examples for you. So you should already be at this point, but I kind of just want to model a couple things for you. So World War I propaganda poster. Okay. So that's just what I would search for, probably a process a lot of you went through. And so I'm just going to click on this. Hey, it's a .org. Maybe that's reliable. And I'm just going to see, is there any of these that kind of do? Okay, so this one gives some information. And I like this poster, okay, for whatever reason. And so I kind of showed you, unfortunately, on this website, it doesn't give me a whole lot of information about this specific image. So I can do that snipping deal where I showed you in our checkpoint 2 and 3 video. I copy it, I save it, and then search Google for it. Or if you actually two-finger click or right-click on this, you're going to see an option to search Google for image. And that's what I'm going to select. And when I do that, this is what's going to pop up for me. So I'm just going to scroll through, find, okay, this is a .org. Hopefully it's good. I'm going to look, okay, it's got that, and then it gives me what's in it, and it tells me information about the creator, who published it, all that nice stuff. So that's great information for me to know. So from here, and it tells me where it's made, and that's going to be really important for contextualizing. So now I can use this to go and make my APA citation. But before I do that, I like to check that even though something's a .org, that doesn't always mean it's good. So I want to check, is this a good, reliable .org? Because some .orgs, they actually really suck. So I'm going to search for iwm.org. And I'm just going to type that into Google. And then I'm actually going to throw wiki on the end so that Wikipedia is the first thing that pops up. So Wikipedia is actually your friend here. And so I see that iw.org is for this Imperial War Museum. It's a national museum. It was founded in 1917. Okay. So that makes me know that this is a good, legit website. So I'm now going to use it. I'm going to create a citation. I've done that already. And so I've added my citation here. So now I'm ready to do my contextualization. Again, you're only doing soapy, happy, or hippie. And so I've decided to go with soapy. So I said the speaker, I knew the person's name was E.J. Keeley, but I Googled and I couldn't find anything else out about him. But I know that they're British because this was made in Britain. And I know that it's being produced and published for the British government. So that's good information to know about the speaker. The historic occasion, it's made in 1915, so this is the early part of World War I, but it also is a time when the Germans were dominating, and Britain needs soldiers to send to fight. The audience would be people in Britain during World War I. Its purpose is to encourage people to enlist in the British military. And so why does that matter? As we get into the why. Not again, why was it made? We already answered why it's made. Why does it matter? Well, it matters because the artist is trying to persuade people to join the war. They're not going to tell you that the war sucks. They're going to glorify how great it is to serve in the military. And basically they're showing, all the women of Britain, they're going to love you and they're going to be inspired by you to go out and do it. So that's good stuff. So that would be the process of contextualizing. I've done that. You want to contextualize for each art piece that you selected. Now, over the next couple minutes, I'm going to go through 2 more examples for you using hippie and happy. I'm going to do a poem and I'm going to do a video. Now, if you haven't done a poem or a video, maybe it's not going to be the most useful time for you. But for those of you that have done a poem or a video, I would encourage you to kind of hang on with us during this time. So I'm going to X out a few things so I have a few less tabs that I'm working with. And so I want to find a poem because I want to have a variety of things for whatever reason. So I picked poem and I just typed in World War I poems. And hey, there's the first in the public. Let's see what the heck this is. So there's Dulce et Decorum Est. Sure. So I've clicked on this. So there's that one, or I can click on this one. And I did my citation from this one. But again, before I would do this, I want to make sure it's got good information. It does. It's got information about the author. That's really helpful for having contextualization. If you don't always know the author's name, hopefully you can at least find some information about the author. Again, Wikipedia could be your friend on that. You want to find a good, reliable website. You're usually going to have something about the author. And if you can't find that, maybe you want to go with a different source. But I love how this one gives me information about the author. That's great. But again, before I would do it, I would type in poets.org, the Wikipedia. And I've done that, and it told me kind of that it's a good, reliable source. So just to model that for you real quick. Poets.org, wiki. And I don't usually need to read the whole part of Wikipedia. So it's, hey, this is for the Academy of American Poets. That already sounds really legit. It's a nonprofit. It's been around since the 1930s. Outstanding. That's all I need to know for this purpose. So now I need to contextualize it. So I made my APA citation already, and I'm going to show you how to do that with the last part. But again, hopefully your ELA skills will be handy for that. I Wikipedia'd and used my website, and I found it was written between 1917 and 1918. So I'm going to say that's during some of the worst fighting of World War I. And so that's the historical context of what's going on. You're notice none of these are very long. The A, so it's audience. This is actually interesting about this poem. It was published after the guy died, so there really isn't much of an intended audience. That's okay. The P, so the perspective. The author is male. So I included something about a gender. He's a British person, and he's a veteran who was wounded during the fighting of World War I. So I thought that was really interesting. He's wounded. And so I said the purpose is probably he wrote this poem because he didn't publish it in his life. It's probably just help him deal with the stress of dealing with the war and going through it. So you notice I spent the most amount of time on the why. Why does it matter? So what I said is the fact that he was wounded and he's a soldier really helps explain why within this poem it might explain why he didn't really glorify too much of the war. So the reason I spend so much time on the why is if you look at the scoring guide, that's how you get to the 5. So the connection between the conditions, that's the hap or the hip or the soap, and the contents of the source. So why does it matter? So that was doing a poem. And the last one I want to spend some time with is I found a video on YouTube. Okay. Now, unfortunately, YouTube's not really a great source to use for this. So I'm just going to type in this into the Googles. Your job in Germany, film. And I'm going to go to Wikipedia actually again. I'm going to mine Wikipedia, which means I'm going to go to the bottom here, find a good reliable source. I've done that, and I found it here. So then from here, I got a lot of information that I can use, and I can watch it. Then there's also this other one, this IMDb, that I'm going to use. So I'm going to now fill out my APA citation using the information that I find on here. And so I now know that I can type into here. So I've gone to this olsis.org and I've done my APA. I'm going to say it's a video recording over here on the left-hand side. And guys, again, I know I'm going fast, so always email me if you have questions about any of this. Like whenever we do citations, if you don't know something, you skip it. So I don't know that, but Capra, and I know his first initial is Frank. I know this was released in 1945. I know the name is Your Job in Germany. It's produced in the United States. The studio is the U.S. War Department. And I got to it through this Internet Archive. And so I'm just going to take that and I'm going to paste it in here. Once you do that, it's really simple. You just hit this create citation. And now I can copy that into our section here. Now going quickly, because I'm out of time here, I'm going to link this example for you. Again, it's when it's made, who it was for, the purpose, and again, spend your time on the why it matters. That's the most important thing. Okay, and again, I'm going to link all this. Have a great day.